feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it take a swim, only option is to win.
Welcome to the Shrimp Tank Post-Show Wrap-Up. I'm your host, Daniel Goodwin. Hey, I think, guys, we had too much fun in the studio today. I don't know. We had a deep dive on Bob Fuller, our special guest, Bob Fuller. His story as an entrepreneur, his journey as an entrepreneur, it began with being a Navy SEAL. And we had Brian Schweiker as a guest host on the show. And then, of course, one of our regular hosts here on the Shrimp Tank podcast is Mr. Tom Glover. Don't forget, you're going to be able to download a complete replay of this show at houston.shrimptankpodcast.com. And it is a great show, so I want to encourage you for that. And then don't forget about our commercial banking episode that we have coming up on November 17th at Sam Houston State University. We're going to be filming the Shrimp Tank live in the classroom, and we're excited about that show. So, Bob, in your interview, we talked about you bringing people into your organization that helped you and your partner, Randy Van Story, build a successful company. We talked about the companies that you have now and the companies that you had in the past. You referenced something that were key tenets that you called 4 C's. Could you just tell us a little bit about that quickly?
Sure. I believe a lot of companies today will spend more time buying or doing the research on buying a copy machine than they do hiring the critical staff that they need to run their business. And so the 4 C's is that you want to hire people with character, that will fit into your culture, and that have the competence.
Character, competence?
And compensation. They have to be able to fit into your compensation plan.
Compensation, you said you didn't want them to be expecting Y, and 90 months later they're getting X, and there's a conflict.
Correct. I mean, how many people have gotten a job and they said, this is nothing like what I was told?
Yep.
So you hit the nail on the head. Hiring people is one of the most important decisions, and whether it's a small company or a huge corporation.
Absolutely.
I love your formula. It's great.
Yep. So we had the 4 C's that we talked about in the show. You'll be able to learn what all of those are. And then you had a couple of other, I think, really key takeaways that we wanted to ask you about.
Absolutely. One of them that I had a question about was the hiring. What was it? I'm sorry. It wasn't hiring. What was it? What was mine supposed to be?
It was...
no, partners. I'm sorry.
Partners.
I wanted to talk about hiring, but partners.
We talked a lot about hiring, no doubt.
I want you to talk about doing...
Having a business partner.
Having a business partner. Do we want a business partner or not a business partner?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you'd had Hillary's campaign manager, you would already had the questions. No, actually, I'm a firm believer in having a business partner. I've actually had both. I started out with a business partner in a lit support business who, a very dear friend of mine who passed away from cancer after 2.5 years of being in business. So the last 2.5 years of business, I was on my own. And, you know, you've heard the expression, it's lonely at the top. Who do you talk to about people issues? Who do you talk to about people issues when they are part of your key management team?
And Brian, you have a partner. I mean, you guys are you're building a great company, and it's a partnership.
Well, we talked on a show that not every entrepreneur's got all the skills you need. So find a partner that fills the gaps that you might have so that you're complementary as a team, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you're both have the same skill set, you might as well just be on your own, right?
Yep. And if you don't have the partner that you need, or you're going to go without a partner, at least work with somebody like Tom or a fraction. You know, the guy we interviewed last week at the Saddle River Gun Range, he hired a fractional CFO to help him. He didn't have a partner, but he found those skill sets with an advisor. And that helped him to build a great company. That's a core tenet and something I think would be a great takeaway for the show. And Tom, you had a question.
You said something on the show about fail small. I thought that was very interesting. I would like you to share that with the audience.
Sure. How many times have you seen people that talked about a large company, maybe it's a chain of restaurants, that they made this massive chain across and then realized it didn't work? And so when I had my assisted living business with Randy, we would have these great ideas that sounded really good in a conference room. We'd plan them out, and instead of rolling it across multiple facilities, we would pick one facility to go try it out, test it, and it would become the benchmark that those people would then teach the rest of the organization. And so if it didn't work, you didn't screw up all of your locations, you've only just screwed up one of them.
Doing a trial with limited exposure is very smart. We do that in tech companies all the time, so that's wise.
Great advice.
Yep, I think that's a great core concept. So you're going to want to download a complete replay of the show. It's an outstanding show with Bob Fuller. You can download it at houston.shrimptankpodcast.com. And Bob, for any of our listeners that wanted to connect with you, reach out to you, had a question, what's your, give us your contact information that you could share with the audience.
You can email me at bobfuller126@gmail.com. That's BOBFULLER126@gmail.com.
BobFuller126@gmail.com. I want to thank you for being a guest on the Shrimp
Thanks for
Tank. It was an
having me.
awesome show. Thank you for being here, Mr. Tom Glover. And our surprise guest, Schweiker. You know, I called him like an hour before the show and said, hey, Brian, we're having you on the show today. And so we were really excited to have you on it. And all of your input on the show was very much appreciated. And in fact, we'll have to have you on and hear about your story and your journey as an entrepreneur as well. Tom had the chance to do a show on building business plans. And so every week it's a different topic. It's a different guest. It's the show for entrepreneurs. If you're the young aspiring entrepreneur, or if you're seasoned and you're just trying to get to that next level, you'll find many of those answers right here on shrimptankpodcast.com. We will see you next week, and thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Dan.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank.